Afternoon, everybody. A huge good afternoon, everybody. Goeiemiddag allemaal. Molo, Tsalakazis. Sawubona. Beautiful faces on the screen. Sawubona. Delighted to have you here this afternoon. As I always say, welcome to the airways of Citizen Leader Lab, where we bring you our school leadership forum. Delighted to have this school leadership forum, which has been going for the last 12, 13 years so far, where we offer our support, all our terrific teachers, and all our passionate principals across the length and breadth of our beautiful country as they try every day to do their bit to give every child a quality education in every classroom. So this afternoon, we are going to have a conversation about what it is that I wish I knew before I became a principal. And we have four caring citizens, four passionate principals with us this afternoon. Diving a little deeper, we'll be speaking about the emotional toll and isolation of leadership. And then we'll move on to navigating power of influence and expectations. And then the complexity of people management. And lastly, we hope to shed some light on the time, energy, and boundaries management struggles. But before that, it's only proper that we pay homage and we pay tribute to our amazing donor, Woolworths, who through the My School program over these years have been supporting us as we bring you the School Leadership Forum. So huge thank you to Woolworths. And not to forget to sign up with your My School cards, because every swipe will bring some contribution into the school's coffers, as well as supporting other beautiful causes out there. So without much further delay, I'm going to hand you over to our first speaker, Ms. Yolisa Mdleleni, and she will shed some light on the emotional toll and isolation of leadership. Sometimes we say being a principal is a lonely job. So welcome, Yolisa. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ridwan. Good afternoon again, once again to everyone. I'm going to speak on the unspoken reality of leadership, but my focus is the emotional toll and the isolation of leadership. I just want to start by introducing the school. It's an all-girls school on the bluff in KZN. When ex-model C school, we serve the surrounding communities, but also we do take from the communities which are a little bit far from our school. We pride ourselves for academic excellence. We maintain and foster a vibrant culture in extracurricular activity and sports. We also have maintained the academic excellence by ensuring that in the past 3 years, our results were in the 90s, but in the past 2, we had 96% pass rate for our matric results. Our school is a bit old. It needs a little bit of tender care, but we are getting there. I want to reflect on the journey as a leader, as a principal of a school. I'm in my 3rd year as a principal. But I want to say to everyone, no matter how much I consult, speak to mentors, read books, no one had prepared me for what I'm experiencing. The other thing is the fact that I underestimated the fact that my journey or challenges will be different. Even if people will advise me and talk to me, but it will always be different. The unspoken realities that I want to speak about to everyone today. The first one is the responsibility of decision making. Leadership for me is not just about making a series of good or bad decisions, but it's also about living the consequences of those decisions. The criticism that you get, and sometimes the lack of support from the individuals that you would have expected as a principal to cover you, whether you are there or not there. Everyone also as well, when you are a school leader, looks at you for a decision, even the decision that would have been made in your absence. Not only look up to you for a decision, they look up to you for communicating that decision as if it's your decision only.
Thando. Ai, ke kopa o ba ise ke ka kamoreng.
Can we ask the people to please mute?
It is also more frustrating when you are not at work and there's some clarity or leadership gap that is there, that people who are also on decision making at some level or other with you on SM team, they will be scared to take a decision, and that decision will wait for you. And when you review or look at that, you find out that it was a simple decision based on policy or based on organizational culture of the school. It didn't need to wait for you. Someone would have taken it, but because of the fact that a principal must be the one who gives that voice or gives that decision, or must be the one that looks bad and must communicate this thing. The second part that I want to highlight is the loneliness of leadership. As a leader, you'll often find yourself standing alone. We work together as different teams in sports, in academics, in SMT, but when you face criticism, when you face challenges, or when you face having to explain why as an SMT or as a school we arrived to that decision, more often than once it's you who stands and defends that. But what frustrates is that behind open doors, everyone buys in happily in terms of adopting or taking that decision. But in the crowds or out there, it would seem like it's your decision. And those are the times where you feel lonely, when you have to stand and defend. Not only that, also the fact that most of the people in a school environment, they are so scared to being seen or portrayed as a principal's pet or as a principal's friend or someone who are friendly with the principal, because there is a notion that maybe whatever the principal might know will be that person who's most friendly has taken it to the principal. So it becomes a place where you know that I must know my place, that is only professional. I must not extend it to friendship, because I must also protect people from what maybe they are fearing for, workplace bullies or being isolated or not having any friends or companion at the workplace. So in that sense, it feels lonely that if you are not out for your walkabouts, if you're not out for your meetings, or you're not out talking to people about professional things, then you must move away from them. And also the fact that you are so disconnected to people. In order for you to be freely engaging at a social level, even when you do social function as a staff, there's always a place that is put for a principal. You cannot just go and sit, because other people will be like, no, principal, there's your seat. And you know, and you feel like, I want to also mingle. I want to sit with another group. I don't want an SMT table all the time. I want the interaction, and I also want to hear the mindset and the thinking of other people, but you can't, because people always put you in a place where they feel that the principal belongs there at the top of the table. The next part I'd also want to highlight is the emotional suppression. When you are a leader, even though you have your emotions and your other challenges that drain you emotionally, you have everyone else depending on you on their emotional support. And when it's like that, you tend, when you're at workplace, to put your own emotions aside. There's a team member that has gone through something, they must come to you, and you must become an emotional support them. There's a learner, there's a parent, there's a secretary, anyone who wish for their issues that they want to talk about before they even see a counselor or leave school or start with their work, they want to talk to you. But nobody thinks of your own emotion, or you don't have time to tend to feel sad, angry, or even excited. The next thing that I would like to highlight is the burnout. No one could ever prepare you for a burnout as a principal. The chronic stress, the lack of support, the blurred boundaries on your getting in time and getting out, the physical stress, because you have to do the walkabout, you have to see the team, you have to see the classes. The emotional and the mental exhaustions are what principals suffer from. The working hours of the principal cannot be defined. There's no time in, there's no time out. The day never ends. Weekends are for catch up. The day is never enough. The guilt of letting just 1 hour or 30 minutes pass by when you catch up with friends and family is also a lot, because you're always thinking of the piles of work that has not been done. Even our own children at home, sometimes they suffer because we do not allocate time for them. You're always thinking of a message to send, a letter to write, a speech to prepare, the management meeting that you must work on. On a daily basis, as a principal, you bring your plan that today I'm going to start here, or a weekly plan. Because of the nature of the job, you cannot say no to a desperate parent who says, I will not speak to anyone but the principal. Even if you try to find out about what, no, I'm not sharing as the principal. And the guilt that you're going to have if you let that parent go is that you don't know whether this is about life or death. I might just listen to the parent. The fact that there will be a teacher who also say, I want to speak to the principal. Also, that causes a burnout, because now on your daily schedule, you have added consultation or parents meeting or a teacher meeting or a learner meeting that you have not planned for. Despite all that, the job is also highly administrative, in the manner that the department always has got deadlines that they communicate very late. And sometimes, even though you have met a deadline, your document is lost somewhere and someone is pleading that please resubmit and it's needed now. We are going to have a meeting and we cannot have it without this document. So the burnout is caused by the teachers, the learners, the Department of Education, the never-ending submissions which are repeated sometimes. Over and above that, as a principal, you are conscious of the fact that you don't want the school to run away from you. Even though there's an office, there's administration, there are people who want to, you must be out there as well to see what's happening in the classroom, to see if everyone gets into the class at the correct time. At the same time as well, even though you are seeing physically to the school, there are other issues that you must look at the paper, like your daily stats. Are learners attending? Who's absent? Who's late every day? What is being done? The discipline of the school is still your part. So those are all the things that are causing the burnout in the side of the principal and the emotional toll on your life, because you must have weekly discipline meetings. Otherwise, the school will leave you in terms of discipline. You must have your weekly SMTs. You must make sure that there's activities on the sport ground. The school is coming. The bus has been arranged. This has been arranged. Even though you are not directly doing it, but everything, you must be aware whether it happened or not. Not only on the emotional toll as a principal, do you suffer the burnout, but there's also stress and anxiety. The weight of responsibility of decision-making, accountability, always causes increased stress and anxiety level. I'm sure most people understand that as high school principals, no matter how much you can work hard on your school, you have not worked hard if your results are not speaking for you. So amongst the many things that I've alluded to today, that one that is at the back of your mind are the results of your matric learners. Our school going to do well? Are we going to maintain 96? Are we going to go higher, because the call is for us to go higher? So that on its own is a stress level that makes you think of different ways to change and to support these learners in order for them to pass, because we know that you are judged by the pass rate. The discipline of the school, you don't want your learners to portray the school in a manner that you have not trained them to, how they carry themselves. The combination of your staff members. Do I have the correct staff members? Where am I going to get one if someone goes on a long leave or they get another post? The fact that this pass rate also, it depends on whether the department is going to employ that teacher that I want, and where am I going to get the teacher? So that brings you on high anxiety and level as well. Is this person that I'm employing a good teacher? And if you get that teacher, if the department is not going to employ this teacher for now, is the SGP going to support me to ensure that this teacher is paid? Because if it's not paid, it's going to leave. Who am I going to get into the classroom for the academic activities of the school to continue? And the next stress will be the payment of fees. Are the parents going to pay fees? Am I going to have enough to have the electricity going on? Are we going to have enough to have all our suppliers, our service providers being paid? There's a never-ending question in a principal's mind on a daily basis, whether you are sleeping or not. In fact, when you sleep, there's something that says, turn on the light and write down this note quickly, because tomorrow you'll forget, and this thing will not be attended to if you do not write it down. It's little things that help you, that make you to be on this anxieties, that you don't want your learners not to go on a sports trip. But if they go on a sports trip again, you say, are they going to be safe? Are they going to be safe going there? Are they going to be safe coming back? Will their heads go through the windows? What will happen to them? Until the end of the match and everyone is reported, ma'am, we are safe back at school. We won the match. That's when you're like, shh, okay, that one is passed. There's so many things on a daily activities of the school that keeps you high on anxiety and stress. But I also want to say, in conclusion, leadership is a journey of discovery, growth, and learning. I've now learned that there's no manual for leadership. I think I'm getting better in dealing with all that I've mentioned above and more. And I hope my sharing can help others prepare for their unspoken reality. Maybe out of the 5 things that I've mentioned that drain emotionally, burn out, and also anxiety and stress. I'm now on a daily basis a principal, encouraging myself to be prepared for the unexpected every day. If there's a gas leak, we run around as a principal to see, is the gas leak at school or in the area? Is the school going to burn? Where is my team for evacuation right now, because I'm on anxiety? So you cannot be prepared for the day. You cannot prioritize which one you start with, but you need to, as a principal, just be prepared that whatever comes on that daily basis, God is going to help me to tackle it in a manner that is learner-centered, that will help the school, that will also make the school go forward. I'm no longer afraid to take decisions. I take decisions as the day comes. I know I cannot be compared to anyone, because whilst people take 3 decisions on a daily basis, mine is 50. And in that series of those 50, I know maybe 10 might not be the good decisions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yolisa. I just wanted to ask you, how have you been able to look and survive, or to have me time during this difficult? You've summed it up so beautifully about all the challenges that we have and the toll it's taking on principals. But clearly, you have also survived them. So, what strategy have you used to overcome some of these challenges? Maybe share your experience with some of. I see one of the other principals have said in the chat that they have similar challenges. So, what advice would you give to them to say, this is how I managed to?
Differently, in so much that I hear the person who advises me, but I always would want to say, I need wisdom to take decisions in a way that fits our context as a girls' school or as a staff that is used to doing things in a particular way.
Beautiful. So yeah, I've seen you, just based on your talk, that you have overcome some of these many difficulties or challenges that we have and that we experience daily. And just want to commend you, yeah, sharing your pearls of wisdom and how you have overcome them. I like what you said, that it's a mind shift change. They say there's a saying that says that if you can't change a situation, then try and change your thinking around it. So yeah, it's senseless. Like we say, we look at the black spot on the white page, we don't see the big page. So I
Yeah.
think mind shift is critical. Yeah. But thank you. If there's any other questions that pop, we will come back to you. But there was one question that maybe we still have time for. For that's who asked, how do you timetable your working day? I try to have a schedule, but every day there are curveballs. I don't get to classrooms enough and feel disconnected from the important work being done. Because like you said, there are so many other things, so many other balls that you have to juggle. And the ones that you have identified early morning, and this is what I'm going to achieve for the day, you just somehow don't get to them. So yeah,
Mm.
how do you spend your day making sure that you try at least to get there?
I think what I do, I'm so used to not being able to function if I don't write my things the night before. And I don't just write them, I visualize them. If I can make an example now, we have just printed our schedules. We've shared the results with the parents, but I also feel like in order for me to keep the academic competition going on, my first assembly after sharing results, I speak to learners about their performance as great. But now the next exercise for these weeks is for me to identify the classes that needs to be commended for the work done as a class, and the classes that needs to be encouraged and advised or motivated either to change subjects or to change their behavior. So what I'll do at night before, I'll write it down that visit 11 p.m., finish my walkabout, get to the office, ensure that I've communicated all my other duties that my admin staff helps me. Then when I've done those, that's when I say, have your coffee, then your day starts. Your day starts then when you say that I've planned my strategic meeting with the DP, I've planned for the SMT, we know how the week ahead looks like. And then you continue in that day, you know that on Mondays, that's the day I go to the second office to submit. The rest of the days I don't leave school because I always feel I've left behind. Then if on that particular day I had more walk-ins or more difficult parents or learners or whatever the situation, because the school can be organized one day and another day it can go in any direction. Then at the end of the day, before I leave, I have to take stock of what I managed to pull through, whatever that I did not, put it for the next day, but ensure that, as I say, our day does not end. Some of the things are communicated right through the evening, where I apologize to people for taking their family time, but can this please happen the next day? So that's the only way to survive, to just know that some of the things won't be done, but I have to squeeze in most of the things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it does come back to time management and what do you prioritize to be the most important things that needs to be sorted out in that moment in time. Am I correct? Yeah. So it's
Yes.
now my delight to invite Mr. Peter Ngobeni to share his pearls of wisdom. Peter, your topic for this afternoon is navigating power of influence and expectation. So over to you, Peter. Maybe just very briefly also who you are, where you're from. Can we ask everybody to mute? Can we ask people to mute? Thank you.
My name is Peter Ngobeni. I'm from Manamelong Primary School. I'm the principal of Manamelong Primary School in Winterveld, under Tshwane West District. It's in the Gauteng province. That's a semi-rural area whereby there is a lot of unemployment in the area. The school also is a very old school. That one is there. It has been there for quite a long time ago. It needs a lot of development. We were working hard with the department on all other stakeholders in ensuring that the school get improved. I went to Manamelong Primary School in 2023 when I was appointed as a principal. You'll understand that there's a lot of challenges when you come as a principal, coming from a different school. So as the topic that I'm going to address today, which speaks to navigating power, influence, and expectations, as a principal now, as the latter speaker has indicated, you are there as a principal at the school. There's a lot that is being expected from you, not only to give direction, to lead and manage the school, but also to be able to give emotional support to our staff, to our colleagues. There's a lot that they're expecting from you. But now, as you are appointed as the principal, you're thinking that, oh, you know what, I need to go there and lead and manage and apply policies. Therefore, it says as a principal, when you arrive there, you need to identify and be able to understand the informal structures and dynamics that influence the decision making in the school. Basically, what I'm saying is that when you get into the new school, the difficult as it is, with the lot of challenges that one could experience, with the criticism, the negative criticism that you can get, sometimes you find out there are a lot of informal structures who sometimes were competing for the same position. So you need to be able to be in a position to identify such people. You need to identify senior teachers who sometimes they can also advise. When you come there and having a particular challenge, you know that even colleagues, when there is an issue that are having, they are consulting on these certain people so that you understand the dynamics of the school. You understand the school culture so that as and when you want to implement some changes or you want to make some decisions, you know that where do I need to go? Where do I need to start? Because if you don't, you are not you cannot just start by enforcing changes on the staff members because of there might be a lot of resistance. So you need to also be in a position that to observe what the culture of the school, what is happening around the school. And not only basically within the school only, you need to check around the community. You need to check the district that you are working with, all the stakeholders that you are working with so that you understand how do they do things. What is it that you can bring that can bring a positive change into the school. You need to also respect that there are a lot of groups, there are a lot of allies that are existing. Whether some might be loyal to you, some might not be loyal to you, but you need to understand and appreciate to say there are these groups and how best one can maneuver into ensuring that at the end of the day, the quality of teaching and learning do exist within the school culture. Now, my challenge and also what I've one has experienced with regard to the dynamics and the culture is that you go to the school whereby now you reach a point whereby um, there are people who are competing with you on the same position that you are now occupying. Then it becomes a challenge. When you try to come up with some ideas on how to implement and do certain things, they resist. And what they do is that now they club with another staff members so that they gang up against you. So you need to be very much careful and ensure that you have ways in which you are going to deal with such cases in case they do arrive. You need to ensure that you influence the culture slowly so and ensure that you have strategies that you want to employ inside because of as you come from outside. From my case, when I was coming from a different school from outside, there were two people, the two deputy principals, who were competing for the post. And you would imagine now, all had hopes to say, will be one day appointed as being principal in the school. But now somebody is coming, then you understand to say, now the dynamics of the school start to change. And as and when you arrive, as I've highlighted before, to say, you need to do some consultation, have one-on-one session with different staff members, starting from the administration, the school governing bodies, the educators, the peer staff members, so that you understand what is it that is happening within the school. How are you dealing with the issues? What are their thoughts? When we in having staff meetings, what is it that one can do in order to ensure that there is harmony, there is a positive working environment? So these are some of the challenges one would face as a principal, and the dynamics to say you need to accept to say everywhere you will be going, there are challenges, but what is it that you can do? Each and every person, where I'm standing right now, I've never had to go to a school for principalship.
Thank you, Peter. That was quite amazing how you have managed to navigate all that complexities. I have asked the chat if there's any questions, but just a comment before I ask you a question. I know how it feels to hit the school coming from outside. The resistance you receive, especially from long serving members who will tell you how they used to do things a long time ago, even if decision is outdated. So it's somebody who understands what you have gone through. And then also somebody said, yo, it sounds like me talking with a man's voice. Must be from a lady. I think it's a date. All these matters coming from outside, bitter staff recruiting others and interfering SGB members. So glad. Yeah, it's not me, but so glad that you have overcome that, Peter. Peter, just a quick one. You know, everybody talks about building trust and building trust and building trust, and it sounds like a cliche, but clearly, given how you have navigated your challenges and overcome those challenges at the school, you said it's yeah, one of your wisdom pearls of wisdoms that you shared with us was to say build trust. Maybe just a simple, easy little thing that you can think of that we can put in our toolbox. How can we go about building trust with staff?
Yeah, what can I can say is that natural to try to build trust with them is that as I've explored those challenges as coming from outside, what you do is that you delegate some task to them to say, do this. And sometimes, especially what I used to do is that, especially from this senior staff who so normally were resistant, is that I knew that these ones they always negative. You assign tasks to them, but you monitor them thoroughly. You ensure that you give them, they give you the report now and then as and when they do that. And those people now, they'll feel to say, you know what, we are appreciated. This person trusts us and we can do this. And I also motivate and indicate to them to say, there's nothing. I'm just here as a principal, but you can be the principal also. I'm just fortunate I'm here, but with your experience, I know that you know more than me, and let's share what we have with one another so that we can build these things together. I'm not here as a principal. This is not only about me, but it's about the learners that we are here with. So me and you working together, then there's a way in which we can go. So gradually, when doing such kind of thing, to say, I've been given some trusted I've given trust to them to do some activities. They appreciate it, and therefore, gradually, as and when it goes, there's a lot of trust that we build with one another.
Mm. Beautiful, Peter, and thank you so much. I like what you said. Difficult to build that relationship and that trust. But if you remind people about why we're there, you said it's about the learners. And sometimes we forget that the most important people in that entire school is the learner, and that we need to constantly focus on them. And so to remind people that whatever we do at the school is to have the learner's interest at heart. So thank you, Peterman. We appreciate your insightful conversation. And I wanted to know if anybody wants to ask or comment. Tabi, do you want to maybe just pop just to hear a different voice? How do you deal with disgruntled deputy principal who didn't get the post and you are coming from another school? I'm sure, Peter, you're going to take another hour just to answer that one.
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's quite challenging dealing with such situation. In my case, I had two deputy principals. We were there, and they were exchanging now rounds by when acting as principals. So when you come from outside, it becomes very much difficult because of they become negative in most cases. But what I can advise is that there are policies, there are departmental policies that one can apply. What you need to do, you need to have a vision and ensure that we have plans. Everything that you do, you write it in black and white for compliance sake, so that each and every activity that you give to them, so that they don't say you didn't give them. There's somewhere they sign to say this acknowledge the receipt of this. But at the end of the day, you sit with them one on one and indicate to them to say, you understand the situation. Understanding in what manner? In the manner to say, you are leading the school, but now I'm here. Let's share the responsibilities. Let's share the ideas of running the school. You can still do this. And as I indicated like before, if those kind of deputy principal who are disgruntled, you also assign tasks to them to work with. And you step back, monitor, give support, and need regular report or feedback on whatever the activities that are there. Some of them currently with my situation, they are changing gradually. It's not easy because of what do they want? It is that they want some people to support them in order to attack you and come up with those negative attitudes and so forth. But if you have plans in place, you have policies in place that you can follow, it's easier for you to win the disgruntled departmental head. Sometimes you want support also from the district officials. You want workshops, team buildings, 2-3 buildings. You invite people from the labor unit. You remind people about the responsibilities, the core duties and responsibilities. So how it applies, you just mediate the misconduct, types of misconduct to all of the people. You can call up a meeting or also invite people from outside to say, let us come, mediate these duties, mediate this kind of policies to them. At the end of the day, they will need to understand and accept to say, yes, I wanted the position, but I didn't get it. But that does not mean you are not smart or you cannot lead. You are still a leader in your own capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. I hope Sabi has at least gained some insight. Thank you, man. Melissa says that I would personally show the person that I am making an effort to take him or her under my wing and mentor them for other promotion or posts that may open. That is, if the person is, I think that's a very good comment, Melissa, that shows abundant mentality. We're going to move on. Now we've been sitting here doing a lot of listening, and that's why I was inviting people to maybe just bring their voices into the room. But let's move on, and maybe at the end we could have some more voices. So we're going to move on to the complexity of people management. And now we would like to give the floor to our friend Siyabonga. Siyabonga, the complexity of people management. Yeah, over to you, Peter. Siyabonga. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all the other colleagues that are sharing this space with us this afternoon. I hope I'm audible enough to everyone. If there are challenges, you let me know. Yes, it's a difficult topic to deal with in a space of 20 minutes. The complexity of people management. But before I move to my portion, I just want to touch on what Mr. Ngobeni said with regards to being promoted to a new school coming from another school. And he views that as a challenge because when he came, the environment changed because there were people that were expecting to get a promotion. What I want to say with regards to that is that you never win with these things. I've seen it so many times where people are promoted from inside the institution and immediately they receive the appointment letter. They immediately become enemies to those people that were colleagues with for the past 10, 15 years. So you never win with these things. So we must not feel bad. I'm also in the same situation whereby I was promoted to being principal at a different school and not necessarily at a school where I was serving before. So it's not a matter of which one is better. You just never win. It's about you having a strong mental strength, like the first speaker was speaking with regards to that. On the complexities of people management, obviously, my portion will be dealing with three things. Number one, balancing empathy with accountability. I will touch on that. I will also deal with underperformance and dealing with difficult questions. I will also deal with resistance to change and maintaining a positive school culture. The first thing I wish to speak about is that we are dealing with different types of people in the workplace. In all walks of life, we are exposed to dealing with different types of people. People who come from a different family context, different cultural contexts, different religious backgrounds. And all those people, they converge in one place called the workplace. And there you are the principal, you are one person, and you find yourself in an environment where all these people from all these walks of life have converged into this one place called the workplace. The problem with the workplace is that it is made up of all these people who come from all these different backgrounds, but the workplace only has space of dealing with these different people the same way. Ideally speaking, the policies should be applied to everyone the same way. And automatically, as we start, that thing creates a problem. It creates a contradiction that suggests that we have to apply a one-size-fits-all approach for the same situation to different people. It creates a management contradiction of having to use one-size-fits-all kind of approach to people who are not the same in essence. The second problem with dealing with different kinds of people is that as much as you want to be fair all the time, as we deal with people, we are also human, and as we are human, we start to develop our own prejudices based on lived experiences with certain people. For example, a person who is known to being absent regularly, his work is not always up to standard. On Fridays, is always as an excuse, is not at work, paydays, Mondays. Unconsciously, you develop a prejudice as a leader, and we must accept those things. To such an extent that even if one day that person were to come to your office with a genuine excuse, that prejudice that has been created in your mind unconsciously will affect how you potentially deal with that person, even when they are genuine. Similarly, a person whose work is always spot on, is always on time, is always going an extra mile, again, there is an attitude that is created in your mind for that person. So even if you find them at fault at a particular point in time, even if you find that person at fault at a particular point in time, you are likely to treat him in a more lenient way than you would the first person who's known to be troublesome. Now, what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that as we lead and as we deal with people, humanity gets in the way. It kind of gets in the way. And if left unchecked, humanity has a potential of creating more problems than solutions. If left unchecked, humanity leads to bad things in a workplace, like unequal treatment of staff, favoritism, and at extreme cases, it can lead to witch hunting and fault finding. On the issue of empathy and accountability, by definition, empathy implies that there is a valid, I want to start there, there is a valid, unpleasant situation that a person, in this case a subordinate, is facing that ordinarily may warrant empathy or pity. It may be sickness, it may be trouble at home, depression, etc., etc. As human beings, we are emotional creatures, and feeling empathy for others is a good thing. However, The real question is, how far must empathy go if the challenges faced by that person interfere with the work or hinders that person from achieving the desired deliverables? Do personal challenges that we face absolve us from the responsibility of delivering the minimum required outcomes? These are the hard questions that every manager must deal with when dealing with matters of empathy and accountability. One of the best ways of being compassionate is to be considerate but less emotional. I think the other two speakers have alluded to that, to say, as a leader, you must try as much as possible to be as least emotional as possible, because emotions have a way of clouding judgment. So the best way to be for being compassionate, the best way to be compassionate is to be considerate but not emotional. If you're a leader who's too emotional, you'll most likely be manipulated. People will come to your office with sob stories every Monday morning. They are appealing to your emotions. We must be considerate, we must be compassionate, but we must be less emotional. We must be faithful to principle. We must be faithful to policy. When people come with sob stories, you need to listen as a manager, sympathize, but also be smart enough to bring the issue of accountability on the table there and then. For example, a person who was absent from work for 2 weeks comes back with a very long sob story. What do you do as a principal? You listen attentively, you are considerate, but also you don't miss an opportunity there and there to speak about the issue of leave. What leave was taken? What paperwork must be submitted? That's accountability. You need to draw a recovery plan for the time that is lost when you were absent. That is accountability. One of the mistakes that we do as leaders is that when people come with sob stories, we let humanity get in the way in such a way that we feel like we are being evil when we bring up the issue of accountability. For example, a person who was absent from work, like I've said, you start sympathizing with them, but you don't talk about recovery plans. I think it's those little things that we miss as managers. So on that one, it is very important to note that both accountability and empathy are very critical elements of leadership. But for effective leadership, those two elements must be balanced. Empathy, on one hand, it creates trust and strengthens human relations. But accountability, on the other hand, protects the key performance areas. So if you are going to be a nice manager and a kind manager, you are going to create good relations, but you are not going to meet the deliverables. And unfortunately, you are not judged by how much people like you at school. You are judged by the key performance areas. So the two elements are critical. On the second one, on dealing with underperformance, underperformance is one of the misconducts that are committed on a regular basis and people don't even know. I find it particularly interesting, colleagues, that there are many teachers in our schools that do not know that underperformance is a misconduct that a person can be discharged from duty for. They don't know that. They think underperformance, it's one of those things that happen and we should just move on from it. I remember a few years ago when I first came to this school, there was chronic underperformance for maths, and it seemed like everyone had accepted that there's underperformance for maths. Until we started engaging with the teacher to say, listen, we cannot sit on our laurels and just accept that maths is being failed. We brought issues of policy on the table. We said underperformance is a misconduct that a person can be charged for. I'm not sure if that would have worked or not, but it looked like from then onwards, things started to change. So what I'm trying to say to other fellow colleagues is that we must not undermine the fact that underperformance is a misconduct that a person can be charged for. We must bring that to the attention of the teachers. Secondly, underperformance, in my view, is something that needs to be avoided.
So now we're going to thank you so much, Siyabonga. Now we're going to move on to our final speaker, and time is creeping us upon us very, very fast. So the time and energy and boundaries of our struggles and management struggles. Over to you, Matsobane. Welcome. You are on mute.
Yeah, good afternoon, colleagues, and thank you very much for affording me this opportunity to come and speak with you about the topic that I got, which is about time, energy, and boundaries management struggle. But I will be focusing more on the different stakeholders that we find at the school, and the time that one consumes when is with the different stakeholders. But I also want to emphasize what Mr. Mnikathi and Mr. Ngobeni have already said about being promoted at the school. But myself, I was fortunate to be promoted at the same school that I was working at. But you know, as they say, sometimes when you change position, people will now start to be against you. They'll form gangs against you. But knowing that you are a leader, you need to focus on the job to be done. And let me start by quoting Jim Rohn when he speaks about leadership. And he says a good objective of leadership is to develop those who are doing poorly to do well, and to help those doing well to do even better. Close quotes. My focus will be based on the different stakeholders that I'm going to mention. It will be district officials, or the district leaders, or the district itself. It will also be based on the governing body, the SGB, the learners, the parents, staff, and also the SMT members. So mine is more on time and energy that as managers, as leaders, we spend, and forgetting that we also have another time to spend with our families, meaning that we have to balance both times, even though it's not possible to balance them. I still remember the first speaker mentioned that there are times that she doesn't get that time to be with the family. You become a lonely figure. You cut a lonely figure because you are always on job. You are always doing work at home. And at the end of the day, you almost forget about your family, which is very, very it's a mistake that we are committing as leaders, because we still need their support. We still need to be fathers. We still need to be mothers of these kids of us. We still need to be uncles. We need to attend the parties, the family gatherings. So hence, I'll be talking more on the time that we spend as leaders. The Department of let me say the district officials, sometimes, because we know that there are different units at the district. We've got the HR, we've got the teacher development, we've got the governance, we've got so many units there. Now, what amazes me is that it seems to me that they are not working together, because you find that the other one will be calling you today. There's a meeting at this particular time. The other one will be talking about submissions. And you know, this nowadays, there's what we call dashboard report that they use. And the dashboard report simply means that if you don't comply, they'll put you on red. If you comply, you'll be on green. And no one wants to be on red, if we have to be honest. So when they plan their activities, sometimes the right does not know what the left-hand side is doing. You'll receive invitation, then somebody else will phone you from another section, and they also want the principal on the same day. That is what I was referring to. And even other unprepared meetings, you just open your email, they'll be saying there'll be a meeting from this time up to that time, and you never prepared for that meeting. Hence, sometimes you come to school prepared, and as you are entering the school, the emails derails all your plans. And for me, I'll recommend that the district should also create a mentorship program focusing on emotional intelligence and providing wellness initiatives to help principals cope with the stress, and so that they can enhance job satisfaction. And going to the other stakeholders, that is governance. One of the speakers has already highlighted the challenges with the governing bodies, where now you find that their focus is more on projects than what is happening in the classroom. And you find that you have to attend long meetings with them, sometimes leaving school at 7 o'clock in the evening, even risking your safety, because you want to make sure that everything goes well. Sometimes they don't even want to consider the budget, because they want to see things happening, and knowing that their projects, not their projects, but their fundraising projects are not well supported by them and the parents. So we find ourselves most of our times grilling, fighting with the parents in the SGB, so that at the end of the day, more time is being consumed. Maybe that time that you are having a meeting, you could have done something that will benefit the school, or maybe we'll have gone maybe outside and look for donors, donations for the school as the governing body. Because when I talk about governing, I even include myself, because I know I'm an ex-officio member in the governing body. I'm also accounting. I'm an accounting officer. So, and the other one now, which to me is becoming a thorn in the flesh, is the community, which now nowadays they want to take matters into their own hands. You find that parents want to close the gates of the schools because now they see that some things are not happening the way they want them. Instead of coming to meetings so that they know what is happening, you find that they want to maybe to fire the principal or to fire one of the educators. And the time that we are spending maybe calling the police, risking the safety of the educators, risking the safety of the learners by what the community is doing. Sometimes it makes it difficult for the principal. It makes it difficult for you, because it even involves the stress. It becomes a stressor to you, because at the end of the day, you want good things to happen to your school. You want beautiful things to be at the school. Now, if the community is always on your course, is always on the course of the educators, not supporting them, then it becomes a problem. But to me, involving parents, especially the community, is very crucial. Maybe like having a space where the community can create their own vegetable garden, so that they can, at the end of the day, be protective of the school, have that thing of being the school being their ownership, bring the ownership to the school. Recently, we had burglaries at the school, but those thieves did not manage to take anything at the school because the community was there. They protected us as a school. Hence, I'm saying that community members, they need to be part of the school as the school is part of the community. And I also want to go to the other one of educators. Mr. Mnikathi mentioned that you'll have those 1 or 2 educators that they'll give you a constant headache, and you should not concentrate on those 2, but look at those teachers who are doing their work perfect. And now coming to these 2 educators or whoever educators is giving the headache, the department has given us some policies to apply or circulars to apply when there is a challenge when it comes to teachers who do not want to do their work, or who are always on sick leave, or who are always absent. Because in our case, there is also circular 1 of 2016, where you can apply all the disciplinary measures just to bring the educators to show them that what they are doing is wrong. And again, when it comes to educators, you also need to show compassion to them. Why I'm saying this, you find that the educator, sister or parent, or even the husband or the child is deceased. That's when now you need to come to the educator, and maybe if they need to be referred to wellness, you also become part of them so that they are referred to wellness. Hence, I'm saying that some of these things, they will also take most of your time. They will also take most of your energy. But for me, taking time, taking energy, helping another educator, helping member of the community, I think it's a good thing, because you will be knowing that you have spent your time well doing good for the school or for the sake of the learners. And again, when coming to learners, these are the stakeholders that I'm mentioning now. I'll be going to other stakeholders. When it comes to learners, sometimes it happens that you find that, especially I'm talking about now the experience that I'm having when it comes to learners, the unruly learners, that you find that they are causing some troubles at the school. Then you refer them to SBST. You find that these learners, nothing is happening, and until maybe you go and visit them at their homes and see what is happening. And you cannot just go with the learners maybe during the course of the day. You'll have to wait until after school and just go and see what is happening at the home of that learner. In most instances, the visits that I've already done, you find that the cause of what the learner is having at that time, maybe being bullied, maybe being unruly at the school, you find that it is because of the situation the learner finds himself or herself. Maybe it's one way of saying is crying out for help, and we need to help this learner. Hence, we need to involve other stakeholders like the psychologists at the district, the social workers at the district, even the local social workers, so that they can just go and look at the family on how they can support them. Recently, we had a project from the local social workers who came to the school and said to us that we must identify those learners with behavioral problems so that they can go and visit their parents, so that maybe at the end of the day, learners will be able to change as time goes on, because change doesn't come at once. I also want to talk about partnerships or collaborations, because they are also very crucial. Even though they'll take your time, they'll take your energy. Let us look at the police, because all the schools, they need to have and adopt a cop who will come and address learners, who will come and maybe give them an address during, or maybe do the random search when you call them. Also, the Department of Social Development, because the Department of Social Development is also crucial in what we are doing at the school. They need to be part of us. We have a drop-in center at our school, and I just want to elaborate on the drop-in center, what it does at the school. It caters for those learners that we call the OVCs, the offense and the vulnerable learners. So the role of the social development in our school, they have a board, and this board, and the board must have board meetings, and I'm also part of the board. So meaning that their meetings usually happens during the weekends. So I also have to attend those meetings. And again, the social development play their part by also employing members of the community. You find that those members of the community, they get stipend from the school. And the other one, which I think it plays a major role to these learners who are in the center, is that they even give them food parcel on monthly basis, so that the parents can be able to augment on what is not there at home, especially when it comes to food. And also, the health department is also very crucial in making sure that you collaborate with them, even though if they take a lot of time at the school, maybe coming to vaccinate the learners, you must also accommodate them as part of the partnership that you must have at the school. Recently, I think it was last year, we had a case whereby learners ate expired chocolates, and I think maybe most of the people know about the incident. And the nurses, because they were here, they were able to take the learners to the different clinics and the hospital, even though, as I said, that you came to school planning that you are going to do 1, 2, 3, and this thing happened. You end up being at the hospital with the learners and coming home late. I still remember on that particular situation, I had to arrive at home at about 2 a.m. because I had to wait for those learners so that they can be admitted, all of them. So the other department, which I think is also crucial and needs to be brought into the school, is the Department of Agriculture, because community members, as I said, you find that they are having gardens, and they support them maybe with their instruments. They support them with equipments that they will be needing, or even giving them a stipend at the end of the day, so that the very same community project can also benefit learners in the kitchen. And as I indicated, a principal needs to be visible at all times. You need to be visible. And being visible doesn't mean that you do everything on your own. You've got the SMT members, which you can delegate, because delegation is also very important in order to avoid the burnout. Because if you want to try and bring everything on your shoulders, one is going to suffer from the burnout, one is going to suffer from stress, and you might end up being admitted at the hospital if you don't spend your time well, or if you don't delegate, because a delegation is also part of development to your SMT members, even the educators. So hence I'm saying being visible is another domain that is described as time consuming, because as a principal, you might sometimes want to be visible even in the community. When maybe there are functions, you find that they invite you. Maybe you've got nearby grade R facilities, the community facilities. They invite you as a principal, and be visible. Even though it's time consuming for you, be visible for for those community projects. Maybe one member of the community is also maybe deceased. Maybe it's a mother of the learner. If you are having time, go and support, but not minding the fact that you also need your family. And I also I speak to my family about, because at first I was always there before I became the principal. I used to go and watch cricket matches with them. We used to go to different activities. But now, because time is limited, I think now communication is also very crucial on your family, so that you tell them that because of my work constraints, I won't be able to do 1, 2, 3, but I'll get time to spend with you. We know that we've got sometimes got long weekends, we've got school holidays. That's when now you can fully utilize them, so that the family can also benefit. Can also benefit. It can also benefit the family. So I was distracted by something. Sorry about that. Ne? So I'm not sure, because somebody saying there's a poor camera here. Is it from my side?
No. Don't worry, that's just in the chat.
Oh, it's not from my side.
Yeah, now carry on. And Siyabonga sharing some beautiful resources. He's
Oh,
apologizing
okay.
for camera.
Okay, no.
But
Okay.
we are
Yeah.
quickly running out of time here, Matsobane. I hope you don't mind me saying so.
Come again.
I said we are quickly running out of time. So yeah.
We are running out of time.
Yeah. You can wrap up nicely if you don't mind.
Okay. Even though I was going to maybe say other things, but it's fine. At the end, as a principal, you need to have a circle of principal, where now you'll be sharing good practices, you'll be sharing challenges, because you know that if you don't have time, if you have challenges, you need people whom you can refer to. Even your cluster leader or your IDSO is the person whom you can rely on when it comes to support. And coming to the end, as principal, let us share information with the SGBs, share information with the community, so that they don't become surprised when they see things happening at the school. Share information with the educators and the staff as well. And where there's a need, refer not learners, but your educators or the staff to wellness, so that at the end of the day, you create a conducive environment for everyone in the school. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matsobane. I like what you said, that we are all from the chat. Everybody seems to experiencing the same problems, and the challenge is that time gets eaten away, and with the time your energy get eaten away. So unless you set clear boundaries, or you have a way of managing your challenges, your time and your energy is always going to be zapped. So thank you for your rich and wealth of information that you shared with us. The chat, everybody in the room seems to be very, very appreciative of the session and the 4 speakers. And so may I once again, on behalf of Citizen Leader Lab, and in particular our School Leadership Forum, thank all 4 of you most sincerely for the time, the effort in preparing, and for delivering your gems of and pearls of wisdom to the audience here this afternoon.